Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's tutorial, I'll be walking you through on how to cut and sew this lovely bubu style. Please kindly help me like this video, help me subscribe, turn on your notification bell so you can be notified when I drop more amazing content like this one. Thank you. To my old subscriber, thanks for always watching my video, thanks for the love. And to my new subscriber, thank you very much for the love you've been showing me. So to cut our bubu gown, we'll be needing our tape rule and cutting it, and then we'll be needing our chalk too. We'll be needing our scissors. We'll be needing our fringe. As you can see, there is a fringe at the front of the bubu, so we'll be needing that too. And then we'll be needing a crepe material. Though I'll be using white crepe, so it depends on the color of the cloth you're sewing. So you can use black or even another color. And then we'll be using this Adire fabric. As you can see, it has a two-face design. Can you see? So I'll be using one side of it for the front parts. That's a design at the side and another design at the other side. So let's dive into the video. So as you can see, I've gone ahead to fold my fabric. I folded it into four. One for the front part and another one for the back part. Can you see it's folded into four? The measurement you'll be needing in cutting out your bubu is your shoulder to bubu length, your hip round, your round sleeve, and then your bubu shoulder. So your bubu shoulder, meaning the length you want your bubu sleeve to get to. That's what I mean by your bubu shoulder. So which is, you can use 18 inches or 17 inches like that. So that's the bubu shoulder I mean. So the first thing we'll be doing is to take our neck measurement. So for my neck width, I'll be using 3 inches for the neck width. And then for the neck depth, I'll be using 1.5 inches. So I'll just connect the 1.5 inches to the 3 inches. Then after that, I'll be taking my bubu shoulder length. So for my bubu shoulder length, I'll be using 17 inches. So I added extra 1 inches for the sewing allowance. So I'll be measuring it like this. I'll measure out 18 inches and then mark it there. I'll mark it on the fabric. So sorry, my chalk is not really showing so much on the fabric. After taking the bubu shoulder measurements, we'll be taking our round sleeve for how wide you want the opening of your sleeve to be. So I'll be using 9 inches for that. I'll mark out the 9 inches there, and then I'll be adding extra 1 inches for the sewing allowance. So I'll just mark it there like that. So after that, I'll be taking my shoulder to hip measurements. For my shoulder to hip measurements, I'll be using 25 inches. So I'll place my tape rule on the fabric like this and then mark 25 inches there. I'll mark it like this. After marking it there like that, so I'll just divide my hip measurements into 4. So for my hip measurement, I'll be using 46 inches. I'll divide 46 by 4 just as you can see. So that will give me 11.5 inches. So that 11.5 inches, I'll place it on the mark I made. I'll mark the 11.5 inches. And then I'll be adding some extra inches for the wideness of the bubu. You can add 3 inches, you can add 4, 5, depending on how wide you want your bubu to be. So I'll be adding 5 inches to my own. So that 5 inches, I'll be connecting it to the round sleeve length. I'll connect it there like this. So I'll be taking my bubu length. For my bubu length, I'll be using length 58. So I'll be adding extra 2 inches for the sewing allowance. So I'll put my tape rule on the fabric like this and then measure it. My camera can't really capture the full length, so I'll just show you. So this is 58, then I added extra 2 inches for the sewing allowance. So from that point, I marked my hip, my bubu wideness. I'll mark the same thing all the way down to my bubu length. After that, I'll be cutting it out. This is it after I was done cutting. As you can see how the shape came out. So we'll be putting one part of the fabric aside so we can use the other one to work on the front part. So we'll be putting that aside. So we'll be marking out the front part of our bubu. So for the opening of the front parts, I'll be using 8 inches. So from my shoulder line, I'll place my tape ruler like this and then mark 8 inches on the fabric. On that 8 inches, I'll go in by 1 inches. So that 1 inches, I'll connect it to my shoulder. I'll connect it straight to my shoulder like this. And then I'll cut it out. After that, on that 1 inches point, I'll go in by half an inch and then notch it like this. After that, I'll open up my fabric. I'll open it up like this, as you can see. So I'll be placing the back parts on it. So I'll be holding together one shoulder of the front and also the other shoulder of the back too. So I'll hold it together like this and then use my pin to hold it down. I'll also use my pin to hold down the other side of the shoulder like this. And then I'll take it to the machine to sew. So I'll be using half an inch to hold the shoulder part like this, and then I'll weave it. This is it after I was done sewing it and also weaving it. As you can see, I've gone ahead to weave the 2 sides of the shoulder. So what we'll be doing next is to measure the neck round. So from that point I notched, I'll be measuring it round. I'll just place my tape rule on the points like this. I'll place it on the points and then I'll just measure it round to the other notching side. So I have 24 inches there after measuring it. Can you see I have 24 inches? So I'll be putting the fabric aside to cut out our collar. So as you can see, I've gone ahead to cut it out, and the length of what I cut out is more than 24 inches. Can you see? You can't cut exactly 24 inches because by the time you're done sewing it, it might get smaller. So I used them like 27 inches. I added 3 inches more. So for the wideness, I used 4.5 inches for the wideness. Can you see? It's 4.5 inches. So by the time you close it up, that will give us 2.1/4 rather. So that will be giving us 2.1/4. So out of that 2.1/4, we'll use half an inch to sew it to the main fabric. So we'll just fold the collar into 2 like this. You fold it into 2 and then notch that part. You notch the middle part. So we'll be doing the same thing for the fabric. The neck part, will fold it into, from that shoulder part there to the other shoulder part, will fold it into 2 and then notch that area. So the notch part on the collar and also the notch part on the fabric, I'll be placing both together and then I'll use my office pin to hold it together. So I'll be holding it all the way to the part that I notch. I'll hold it round like that. After pinning it round like that, I'll take it to the machine to sew. So I'll be using half inches to sew it. This is it after I was done sewing, as you can see. So the remaining part of the collar, we'll be putting it into the fabric. We'll be pushing it in like this as I am doing. So you will make sure you arrange it very well, and then the other side of it too, will be pushing it in like this. You make sure you arrange it very well. So after that, you know, that side that I notched, there's a little part showing out. That one I'm holding, so there's a little part showing out. So you'll be pushing that in too, so you can be able to hold it together with that collar you push it in like that too. So after that, you use your office pin to hold it down. You hold it down, so by the time you're done using your office pin to hold it, you just go ahead to sew that part. I'll be using half inches to sew it down, so I'll take it to the machine to sew. This is it after I was done sewing it. As you can see, it came out nice and it's laid very well. You can see that inner part. Let me turn it to the other side for you to see. So can you see, I've also gone ahead to whip it round. I've whipped that part around like that. So what I'll be doing next is to cut out the pattern at the front of the bubu. As you can see on the screen, you can see the shape that is on the bubu, so that's the shape we'll be cutting out. So I'll put the dress aside and then work on the cutting of the shape. It's not a must to use exactly the same shape shown in the picture. You can use a different shape if you want. So the first thing I'll do is to fold the fabric into two like this. I'll fold it into two. And then for the wideness of the shape, I'll be using 9 inches for the wideness, so I'll be adding extra 1 inches for the sewing allowance. You know it's folded into two now, so that means I'll be cutting out 5 inches. So 1 inches extra for the sewing allowance, so I'll just measure out 5 inches like this and then cut it out. So for the length, I'll be using 10 inches for the length, so I'll be adding extra 1 inches for the sewing allowance. So I'll mark out 11 inches like that and then I'll cut it out. This is it after cutting that out. So from that edge of the fabric, I'll place my tape rule there and then measure 1.5 inches. I'll go up by 1.5 inches. So from that 1.5 inches to the other edge, I'll slant it to get that V shape in the picture, and then I'll cut it out after connecting the 2 points together. You see how the shape came out, so I'll be cutting my stay and then iron it on it. After that, the sides I'll be folding them inside, so by the time I want to sew it on the clothes, to be very easy for me to sew, so I'll be doing that. So this is how it came out after I was done with the ironing. You can see I folded each side round. I used my hemming gum to fold it down. So we'll be putting that aside and then work on the main fabric. So we'll be laying the fabric down like this. You make sure you lay it very well. So on that part, that V side, I'll measure whatever I have there. So I have 2.5 inches. So I'll be dividing 2.5 inches into 2. I'll mark out what I got after dividing 2.5 inches into 2. I'll mark it there. After marking it like that, so that shape too, if you can see, while I was ironing, I also ironed the middle parts of the shape. So I'll be placing that middle parts on the mark I made. I'll make sure both are kissing each other, and then I'll use my office pin to just hold it down. So after holding that part down, so the down part of the shape too, I'll hold it together with the clothes. You make sure it does not touch the other side of the fabric, so you pin it down like that. So I'll pin everything round on the fabric, so it will be very easy for me to sew when I want to sew it. You know, we'll still be adding our fringe. So from the middle point of the shape, I'll measure what I have there to the other side, and the other side too, I'll measure it. So I have 10.5 inches after measuring it. So that 10.5 inches, I'll be doubling the fringe. So I'll cut out 2 of the fringe because I want the fringe to be full. So I'll be doubling it. So that fringe at the tip of the shape, I'll be putting it under the shape like this. I'll just place it under it. After placing it under it like this, you arrange it well, and then I'll use my pin to hold it down together with the fabric. I'll use the pin to hold it down. I'm done holding it together, so I'll be taking it to the machine so I can stitch it on the fabric. So as you can see, this is how it came out after I was done stitching it on the fabric. Can you see how it is? It came out very nice. So the next one we'll be doing is to fold the sleeve side. You know, we added 1 inches for the folding of the sleeve, so we'll be folding that in. We'll fold 1 inches like this, and then I'll use my pin to hold it down. So I'll be doing the same thing for the other side, and then I'll take it to the machine to sew. And this is it after I was done sewing. As you can see, it came out nice. So I'll be flipping the clothes to the other side so we can be able to hold the sides of the bubu. So the bubu will be having a side pocket. So from my shoulder, I'll measure 16 inches. So that 16 inches is where the pocket will be starting from. So I'll measure 16 inches and then mark it there like this. So from that 16 inches, for the opening of the pocket, I'll be using 6 inches. So I'll measure 6 inches like this. I'll mark the 6 inches there. So from that point which I marked 16 inches, I'll be cuffing it to the sleeve part. I'll just mark it so I'll be able to know where I'll be sewing. So I'll mark it there like this, and then I'll move my fabric up a little bit. So from the 6 inches, I'll mark 1 inches. You know, I added 1 inches for the sewing allowance, so I'll mark the 1 inches there. So at the down part of the bubu, there will be a slit at the side. So for the slit, I'll be using 22 inches to open the slit at the side. So I'll mark out the 22 inches there like this. I'll mark it out. So from that 6 inches, the 1 inches I marked there, so I'll connect the 1 inches all the way to the point where the slit will be starting from. So I'll mark it there like that. So I'll be doing the same thing on the other side of the bubu too. All the measurements I took at that side, I'll be taking the same thing at the other side of the bubu too, and then I'll take it to the machine to sew. This is it after I was done sewing, as you can see. So I've also sewed the other side of the bubu too. So the next one we'll be doing is to fix our pockets. So as you can see, I've gone ahead to cut out the pockets. So for the length of the pocket, I used 11.5 inches for the length, and then for the width I used 8 inches for the width. And I've also gone ahead to weave the pocket round. Also, I've also whipped the clothes round too. So that point which I left for the opening of the pockets, I'll just open it up like this. So after opening it up, so on one side of the opening, I'll just place the pocket on it like this, and then I'll pin it down. So I'll just pin it down like this. On the other side of the opening too, I'll pin the other part of the pocket to it too. So after doing that, we'll be sewing that part down together with the pocket, and that other side, so we'll be sewing it down. So the same thing I did at this pocket side, we'll be doing the same thing at the other side of the dress. So we'll be pinning down the pocket to it too. So for the opening of the side too, we'll be folding that in like this. We'll fold it in, so we'll be using 1 inches to just fold it down like this, and then we'll sew on it. So the other side too, will be taking it to the machine, we'll sew on it, and then the pocket side too, will be sewing it. So we'll take it to the machine to sew. This is how it came out after I was done fixing the pockets, as you can see. And also for the slit part too, I've gone ahead to fold that place too. So what we'll be doing next is to fold the down part of the dress. So for the folding of the down parts, I added 2 inches for the sewing allowance. So I'll be folding that 2 inches like this. I'll measure out the 2 inches. On the 2 inches, we'll be sewing on it, and then for the other side of it too, I'll be folding 2 inches in, and then I'll take it to the machine to sew. This is it after I was done sewing. As you can see, it's looking very nice. And the down part too, I've gone ahead to fold the down parts. I've also ironed it, So yeah, we've come to the end of this tutorial. Please kindly let me know if you have any question for me concerning this tutorial. Please help me drop it in the comment section. Help me like this video, help me subscribe, turn on your notification bell so you can be notified when I drop more amazing contents like this one. And if you want me to do more contents like this one, please let me know in the comment section. Thank you for your support, for your love. I'll see you in my next one. Bye.